Liz Gallo,
Hello.
media professionals. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we're talking about an ongoing conversation around the future of radio, and wanted to get people's thoughts on radio and where it is going and what's happening. So why don't you tell me a little bit just about what you do and how that might relate to radio?
Well, I've been working with radio since 2010. I started out actually as a digital media consultant, working with all kinds of different brands, and found myself working with radio stations and really helping them understand how to use the digital space better. And when we started working with them, it was so new. We were working with stations that they didn't understand Twitter, they didn't understand Facebook, and now it's commonplace. And that was only 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. So when I think about the future of radio, I mean, people say the future is now, but it is. There's so many advances in technology and with what's happening, and yet people still want their music curated. So with all these advances, they can go out and find their music, they can follow artists on Twitter, they can use Facebook, they can use YouTube to find all this new music, yet radio is still so important because it curates the music for them.
Right.
So I think it's important for stations to understand how they can really be those curators, be those experts.
And where do you think radio is today in terms of understanding their place within the greater media landscape?
Well, the greatest danger or threat, I think the learning is good. I always err on the side of learning. I think my background way before all of this was really from a digital place, and in the digital space, in the startup space, you test, you learn, you revise. And I think some of the traditional media platforms, broadcasters, could benefit from those strategies a little bit more. I think what's holding them back sometimes is that they have to take those risks, right? They have to test, they have to try to learn more, they have to keep learning, and it's really challenging to do that when your mindset and your revenue is really still based in very traditional advertising formats. So I think finding that balance where they understand where they still make a lot of their money, and being able to take a little bit of that startup mentality and bring it into what they're doing is really important. And I think the stations that are able to do that, the broadcasters that are able to do that, will have the most success.
There are some of the things that radio should be looking out for, we should be looking out for from radio in terms of remaining not just relevant, but starting to take a leadership position in this digital media space.
Wow, where is it going? If I had my crystal ball.
Yeah, if you had a crystal ball.
Well, I think there is potential for restructuring in the industry. I was actually reading something interesting last night about the newspaper industry and about how the changes in all the struggles that it's going through, and that the person believed newspaper would still exist and be fine. And I think that radio may have to take some cues from that. I'm not saying it should take a subscription model at all, but I think that really you're just going to see power brands come out, a real focus on quality content, because that's what they need to do. And I think the stations that can do that and that can discover not just how to reach their local listeners, but how to reach national listeners and international listeners, and then be able to connect with advertisers and use technology to say, if you're listening in Brazil, we know you're listening to a Toronto station in Brazil, we can put in Portuguese ads, Brazilian ads, right? We can make the ads local. I think the technology is getting there, so once that technology catches up, and these radio stations that can be really focused on have really great content and really know their niche and their demographics, those were the ones that will be successful, and that's what we'll start to see.
So it's a commitment, a further commitment, a doubling down, if you will, on investing in great content, keep building the brand, but utilize all of the tools available to push it all out there.
Yep.
So it requires a lot of commitment on several levels.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it is. It's a lot of commitment. And the ones who understand that they're going to have to test things and try, and they build in,
Right.
and they have the patience to
And a
do
commitment
it.
to the iterative process of trying and failing and learning and
Yep.
refining and picking the winner and going hard with it.
Yep. Basically.
Good.